Thanks very much for attending this session. We would like to welcome Mauricio Corredor, Head of Slot Coordination in Colombia. We are delighted to have them here. We always welcome coordinators to attend the slot conference, and we've been waiting and looking forward to having Colombian coordination attending, and finally we organized a slot conference here and you came, so we had to do it more often. But we expect to have Colombian slot coordination attending Singapore and Vancouver, and this is the plan, and they're going to do their best, and we're going to be monitoring. As you know well, we can be very perseverant. Thanks very much all for attending, and I welcome and thank you for your presentation. He's a very open guy. You can ask any questions. Do you prefer the questions during the presentation, or just at the end? Okay, so please don't be shy. There's going to be mics, so just raise. It's a very casual and I hope it's useful presentation for you. So just make the best of it, and after the meeting, he has time for you if you want to take private questions. Thanks very much and welcome.
So I'm ready. I think I'm ready. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Mauricio, or Mauro, however you want. But my name is Mauricio José Corredor Monroy. We have to talk about the Colombian slot coordination process and slot allocation and monitoring. So let's talk about our agenda for this meeting. Let's talk about head slot coordinator, Colombian airports, something about our history, our regulation, our process of determination or airport congestion level, our process for coordination. Let's talk about work team, our technology, our systems to work on that. Let's talk about communications and the airport coordination. I'm sorry about my English, but I will try to do my best. So if I have problems, we need to switch to Spanish. I have no problem with your question in English, and I will try to do my best for answer it. So about the slot coordinator, I'm an industrial engineer since the last year. I'm a traffic controller since 1996. I'm a specialist, ATF-CM specialist since 2005. I have experience of 12 years on slot coordination, and as head slot coordination, just 6 months of experience. So let's talk about our Colombian airports. So we have in Colombia more than 40 airports, but for us the most important airport is El Dorado Airport. It's just El Dorado Airport is level 3 of congestion. We don't have any more congestion level declared in Colombia. For example, Medellin or Rio Negro Airport is level 1. Cali level 1, Cartagena level 1, and so we don't have any more airports on level 3 congestion. More about our Colombian airports. We have El Dorado Airport that has 346,000 operations a year. The next one is Medellin Airport, is Rio Negro Airport, Jose Maria Cordova Airports, 91,000 operations a year. Cali Airport, 74,000, Cartagena, 51,000 operations, and Barranquilla, 45,000 operations a year. So you can see what is the next candidate for next level congestion designation. More about our airports in Colombia. In El Dorado Airport, we had in 2015 340,000 operations, and in 2023 we have 346 operations. As you see, we have a little bit increment in international operations, passing through 91,000 through 107,000 operations in 2003. About the daily operations, we have 1,130 operations a day. So it's a very congested airport. So I think we need to improve our efficiency in a collaborative manner. Sorry about that. As I said, Bogotá is El Dorado. El Dorado Airport is the most congested airport. Then Rio Negro Airport, Cali, Cartagena, and Barranquilla. We have a little bit increment in international operations in El Dorado Airport. And we have 1,130 operations a day average. Let's talk about the background. Our history is that since 2005, we implemented the air traffic flow management and capacity because we have to regulate our unbalance based on the demand information against the capacity since 2005. So El Dorado Airport was declared as level 3, and let's talk about the regulations history. We have in Colombia since 2005 and flow and capacity management unit since 2005. And there we try to regulate the demand in a pre-tactical phase, in a tactical phase, and that unit produce post-operational information for the next analysis for the slot allocation process. So more about our history. In 2004, we declared the El Dorado Airport as coordinated airport level 3. 2004, we adopted the WASG recommendations. In that moment, we begin to coordinate the coordination parameters with the ATC, with the airport, and with every stakeholders related to the process. In that year, we made the first capacity declaration based on the runway capacity. So about our regulation background, we have in this moment our main document, that is the Appendix A of the Part 3 or on the Colombian regulations document, that is RAC 3, Appendix A. So in 2005, we implemented, as I said, the flow and capacity management unit. In 2011, we implemented the strategic planning and regulation of schedules from a resolution in 2011. Then in 2015, we implemented our PDC score, our system for the coordination process. We created in 2005 our slot group. In 2017, we published a new resolution, and that explained slot use rules and coordination role. Then in 2018, a new resolution that implement or that published the slot coordination committee statutes and update. Then finally, in 2021, we have a new update of the Appendix 8 of the Colombian Regulation Part 3. What have our regulation? First, we talk about in our regulation about the general information about the process. As I said before, we try to put in our regulation the recommendation of the WASG. So in our regulation, we have the obligations of the different actors by airport levels, the items based on the strategic planning for slot coordination, the information about the process related to the capacity and demand analysis, capacity declaration process, principles, priorities, and criteria in the slot allocation, slot level 3, procedures of coordination and facilitation of airports, level changes, and information about the committees. In general, we can found in the general information what is the applicability of the criteria and principles of the slot coordination and facilitation processes. That document inform about the needs of the coordination, general information about the coordination process, levels of congestions, and the information or description about our stakeholders. So about the obligations of the different actors by airport levels, we have a very good communication with the ATC, with the airports, with the airlines, and something relation or a little bit relation with the ground handlers, because we need to have information about the airport capacity, and first we need information about the coordination parameters. As you know, the ATC provide information about the runway capacity, and the airports provide information about related to the apron capacity and terminal capacity for us. The airlines provide us information about the demand and the fluctuation of the demand and different types of demand. Ground handlers inform by the airport authority provide information about the resources on the airport, just information necessary for capacity declaration and the rest of the process. So about the strategic planning for slot coordination, we follow first the calendar of the coordination activities of IATA, but in this moment for winter 24 coordination, we have a project. So as our informed in the last meeting, we have a project based on the different phases to go through the coordination process. The first phase just related on the capacity declarations on coordination of parameters. Second phase related to the request to the ATC at the airports regarding to information about the parameters. Then the SHL process, then capacity declaration activity, and like that we are trying to maintain our project on time for the coordination. So we have our own calendar of activities, because we are thinking we need to use different dates to have more time to process the activities, and just use the calendar of IATA to make a reference, to have a reference, but we have our own calendar of activities. So about the capacity declarations, we are trying to improve our process, because we are trying to have more information based on the criteria of ATC factor, runway capacity on different configurations along of the day. We are trying to have information about the apron factor and terminal factor from the airport authority or airport manager. And finally, we're trying to have information about the environmental factor, because we have in El Dorado Airport some limitations based on the noise abatement. So we in the last meeting we declare our capacity via a particular document that is in the microsites on the web page of Aeronautica Civil. As you know, it's a very different way to declare our capacity with more specific information and particular information that is very important for us. That because we think that the airlines and the different stakeholders knows the particularities. So about the capacity and demand analysis, we are trying to work on our key performance indicator manual. We are trying to have information, analyze information about the key performance indicators that we are trying to have, for example, related to the predictability, related to the different characteristics of the demand, the fleet mix. We are trying to have information about the maximum throughput at the airport. We are trying to have more analysis on the connectivity issues, different service types to have a very improved criteria to the slot allocation. We in the last process for the declaration, we used information about the capacity projections and first capacity utilization, because we are thinking on detect when we are losing capacity or wasting capacity based on the real capacity utilization. We analyzing the demand and the different characteristics of the demand, different operators and different needs. And obviously we analyze the season, the particularity of the season, and very important thing for us is to analyze macro seasons that we have along of the year in Colombia. So about the principles, priorities, and criteria in the slot allocation of slots in level 3, we have in our document, in our regulations, the description of that the planning has to have, the criteria to apply in the process, the principles or allocation principles, as I said before, based on the principles that recommends IATA in the WSG. The priority criteria, we have in that document information about the usage of slots, about the handback processes, and finally, the information about the slot monitoring. So in the coordination and facilitation procedure, we have very clear our different processes. We have in the coordination process information about the accreditation that we need to have, because we think that we need to have very clear which people that is talking about this slot coordination with us. We need to be very technical conversation in every discussions about along the process. Information in that document about the calendar, our own calendar, the information about the capacity availability, historical determination, ACHL initial submission, SAL, SSIM utilization, and initial coordination. Processes related to post-SAL, slot conference, and something like that. Information about the manage of the wait list, ad hoc allocation, and tactical allocation. For the facilitations, we have information in that document related to the principles, priorities, dialogue, airline information, supervision, and procedures. So related to the level changes, in the Appendix A on the third part of RAC 3, numeral 9, in the part 9, we have information about the level change. Important to know that the designation of level of congestion is the general director is the person that have to design the airport level of congestion. But we need first a request from the airport operator or from the airlines operating in the airport, and that represents at least 50% of the traffic. But very important is to have a very complete and comprehensive analysis of capacity and demand from the people that request, because we need to know how is the balance between capacity and demand, and with that information, but based on the very good data, make some important decisions on the designation of the process. In our regulation, we have information about the slot committee, how make the meetings, how design the chairman, statutes, and something information related to the advices from the committee to the slot coordinator. And we have regulations related to the slot execution committee, but we don't have that committee in this moment. But the document describes information about evaluation, monitoring, reports, and recommendations. So we need to work in the real role of the committee, the activities of the committee, the slot committee, and we need to work in our process to implement the slot execution committee first. So let's talk about our work team. We are trying to have a work with a very good synergy, because we are trying to have a very good consistency between the planning and the execution and the post-analysis process. So we have people, we have a scheduled group that works in the first mission is to work in the slot allocation and the facilitations. But we are trying to support that team with the ATFCM group. So because we are trying to implement the slot monitoring process, having information in real time that the systems and the air traffic flow management service produce. Let's talk about the automation for the coordination process. So we have in this moment the system PDC score of PDC Aviation, that the system have all of the modules that they produce for runway coordination, parking, PAX flow, noise quota, auto messaging, score dashboard, online coordination system, OCS, reporting, and slot monitoring. We are trying to use all of that modules, but we need to build the processes to formalize the process to have a very improved slot team to work on that. We need to activate the score of the score of dashboard. We need to activate online coordination system, OCS. So we are thinking that we can to activate the OCS maybe for the summer 25 process. As you know, it's a very good tool for us. We are trying to improve the parameters in that system for the efficiency on the slot allocation. And we are trying to have a very good thing. We are trying to make a very good integration between the systems. We have a system, the slot coordination system, And we have information about the Civil Aviation Authority. We have information from the ATC, from the airports, and information about the post-operations data. So we are trying to integrate those systems to make the process more effective, to process the coordination in a more effective way. So we're trying to integrate the PDC score with the air traffic flow and capacity management system, that is Harmony. And we're trying to integrate this system and the Harmony system, ATFM system, with the ACDM platform. That is a project that we have I think in next August. So we have in the air traffic flow management unit our system that is Harmony. That Harmony produce information about the slot-based demand projection, tactical slot allocation, because we have to improve our slot allocation in real time, in the same of the day of operation, that we're going to use for airport slot allocation, our Harmony system. This system can produce slot monitoring support because the system integrates information about the airport slot allocation, information about the commercial schedule that the airlines have, information about the flight plan, and information about the actual time. For example, actual off-block times, actual in-block times, actual takeoff times, landing times, and etc. So this system can produce post-operational punctuality analysis, and we are working on the integration between this system and the ACDM in the near future. For communications, as you know, we have in this moment our microsite in the Aerocivil webpage. So you can find in the web page the microsite. That is, those are the links. We have a new emails for coordination. We're trying to improve our communication with you and have more collaborative process with all of the stakeholders. So we can access to the information is a public site. We're trying to communicate about the process. We have there our regulations and capacity declarations, and in the future, the link to the OCS, for example, and something like that. So you can access the site. So I'm ready for questions. Thank you very much. And go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, John Marquette from Delta Airlines. First of all, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation and taking time out of your schedule to present this to us. It's a great opportunity to understand the process a little bit more. Can you explain a little bit more or elaborate the interaction between PDC score and Harmony and how slots are allocated? Meaning, my understanding is that slots are allocated within a 15-minute window of a block, and yet Harmony adjusts those times a little bit to the minute. Whereas if I were to ask for a 9:05 slot to go to 9:10, I may not get to 9:10, I may get a 9:07 slot. And so I'm trying to understand how Harmony relates back to the slot system.
Great question. As I said, we are trying to have a very consistent process. We need to have a very strategical planning, you know. So after the strategical planning, we need to anticipate just one day before the operation. So the information that we have about or related to the airport slot, we use that information to upload in the Harmony system to prepare the demand information for the day of operation and project, for example, the the ATFM measures for the next of the day. That is the first information that we have in Harmony. That is slot allocation information. So in the day of operation, in a tactical phase, we need to regulate the order of operations or operation changes, airport slot changes. So we need to control that. We need to regulate that. That we use the Harmony system based on a ground delay program that is ATFM slot allocation in real time. So for the tactical process, we need first information about your slot, airport slot, but we need to confirm the information based on your flight plan or your intention, flight intentions updated. You know, that information is that we use to assign, to allocate an ATFM slot, is operation slot for departure, for pushback, for takeoff too. As you know, I think you know the CTOT in Europe. I think in FAA is EDCT. That's it. Because we need to regulate the traffic and control the over demand and maintain the traffic flowing in a very smooth way. About the slot tolerance, in the airport slot criteria, we have a tolerance published in our document, but we are trying to set that regulation because we need to be more efficient in the capacity usage. So we're trying to put slot window, slot tolerance 15 before and 15 after. But in the tactical phase, we need another tolerance because we need to make more precise the information. We need to be more precise in the information. So in a tactical phase, forget it, the airport slot. Just operates based on this slot, ATFM slot allocation that Harmony produce. So you need in the base, in the airport, somebody that manages the Harmony system that is related, that has a very good relationship with the ATFM procedures. Okay? Thank you very much.
Yes, Captain Fabian Cortez from the Mexico City International Airport. My English is kind of rusty, but I will try. I don't know if it's the situation of here in Colombia, but in Mexico, the only saturated airports are Mexico City and Cancun. So those are the only two airports that work with slots. So any other airport is just airline itinerary commercial.
Free flight.
Yes. So we have a very, very big problem in Mexico City because we have 87% punctuality in departures, but 45% punctuality in arrivals. And that is because the other situation I told you about. No other airport is controlling departures from Mexico City because no other airport works with the slots. So I don't know if you have a solution here in Colombia about that situation of how you manage with that situation to get an idea to go up to Mexico City.
Let me switch to Spanish.
Thank you.
Mira, primero hay que entender qué es puntualidad. ¿Sí? Yo creo que no sobra recordarlo. Porque muchas veces se discuten qué es demora, qué es puntualidad, basado en qué, basado en el despegue, basado en el push, basado en el slot, basado en el plan de vuelo, etc. Si hablamos de puntualidad y estamos en un aeropuerto que es totalmente coordinado con un nivel 3 como lo es el Dorado, lo que tenemos que comparar es la hora real de push, la hora real de remolque, con la hora del slot asignado. Ahora, el cumplimiento o la puntualidad en las salidas es mucho más fácil de lograr, porque, digamos, el tramo es solamente el push y el taxi, mientras que en las llegadas tienes el push, el taxi, el vuelo, el desvío, el mal tiempo, el control, la vectorización del control, etc. es mucho más difícil de lograr. Pero pues ahí está la tarea, ahí está el reto de mejorar la puntualidad en las llegadas. Ahora, el proceso de coordinación de slots es un proceso estratégico, ¿sí? Y como proceso estratégico, tal vez lo que nosotros tenemos que esperar es que a que se vayan desarrollando las operaciones para hacer análisis postoperacionales y tomar medidas sobre los incumplimientos o sobre la baja puntualidad, digámoslo así. Pero precisamente en Colombia lo que buscamos es darle consistencia a eso. Es decir, tenemos un proceso estratégico, pasamos por el proceso pretáctico, que es el cargue de la información de los slots en el sistema TFM, y nos aseguramos de asignar unos slots, digamos, operacionales, que son los slots ATFM, para que se dé garantía durante todo el proceso, desde la planificación hasta la ejecución de las operaciones. Eso, de alguna manera, nos ayuda a que esa planificación estratégica realmente se realice, ¿sí? Ahora, esos aeropuertos, pues, que son el origen a un aeropuerto coordinado, entiendo que es un aeropuerto no coordinado, un nivel 1 con un nivel 3. Allá, digamos, ni el ATC ni el aeropuerto le interesa mucho que allá tiene que cumplir un slot. El que tiene que cumplir el slot es la aerolínea. Pero si la aerolínea presenta un plan de vuelo diferente, pues el ATC le hace caso al plan de vuelo, el aeropuerto dice, pues la compañía me dijo que va a salir a tal hora. Pues yo le creo, pero eso no lo exime de cumplir el slot. O sea, al final, perdóname, el castigo sobre el slot es un proceso posterior. Pero en Colombia, como tenemos un sistema TFM, nosotros asignamos esos slots y los vigilamos, ¿sí? Entonces, ese aeropuerto que me va a enviar un tráfico, ese aeropuerto de origen, la torre de control tiene la información de a qué horas debe remolcar ese avión. No necesariamente para cumplir con el slot aeroportuario, pero buscando esa consistencia tratamos de que la asignación del slot operacional corresponda al slot aeroportuario y buscar mejorar la puntualidad. Pero el ATC, la torre de control, el aeropuerto, saben la hora que le asignó la TFM, que es una hora, insisto, no necesariamente corresponde al slot, porque no es el momento para hacerlo corresponder, pero sí buscamos que haya consistencia en gran medida. Hoy en día, gracias al proceso de coordinación de slots, las demoras que asigna el ATFM no superan los 7 minutos. Es decir, que ahí hemos ganado mucha consistencia. Gracias.
Yes, hello, I'm Ulrike from Lufthansa. I'm not sure if I understand it correctly now, your answer. I'm sorry, but I wanted just to ask you if you have more details about the monitoring process. I thought you were just telling something about punctuality, whatever, but I didn't understand it correctly. I'm sorry.
Great question. So, about the slot monitoring. We have a regulation. We have a very good description in general terms about the slot monitoring. But we are working very hard to implement the process because we need to write the process, to formalize the process, to make some agreements with the industry about the process, and improve our slot team. So we are thinking to create a slot monitoring team in the air traffic flow management and capacity, because the information in real time is there, because we are trying to implement the pre-operational slot monitoring, post-operational slot monitoring, to produce finally information that the slot coordination team going to use for the historical analysis. But in this moment, we don't have the slot monitoring implemented. So we are thinking for this summer 25, we have this slot monitoring process. That is a need. It's very important for us. We are working very hard in our operational efficiency to use in a better way our capacity, but the next step is the slot monitoring and activate the other modules to make it easy, the process. Thank you.
Hi, Mauricio. John Middleton at IATA. You had a slide a few before that was on the calendar, and I was just wondering if you could clarify a little bit how that meshes with the calendar of coordination activities, the SAL, SHL, initial coordination, et cetera?
Yes, we have a little bit difference between our calendar and the IATA calendar because we need a little bit more days to process each activity. So, for example, for winter 24, the SHL for us was between 10 and 11 of April. Next, the agreement of historics between 16 and 30 of April. Capacity declaration made the 02 of May. Our initial submission between 03 and 09 of May. Finally complying the IATA calendar. Our slot allocation process between 10 and 28 of May. And for example, for the IATA calendar is 30 of May. So we use 2 more days to process. We are trying to anticipate the process, to comply the activity deadline. So we are in our IATA slot conference that the dates is blocked. Right, and after we are very, very important to say something. In the last summer 24 coordination, we implemented our national conference that is called slot optimization conference because we're trying to pass from 60 minutes allocations to 15 minutes allocation. We're going to have for winter 24 after the SAL activities, IATA slot conference. We're going to have, I think, a week for the slot optimization conference here in Colombia. And finally, we're going to have the series return in 13th of August. The IATA deadline is 15, and we want to produce our historic baseline between 16th and 20th of August because we have a deadline by IATA 31 of August. Thank you. Questions?
Sorry to ask another question. Previous slide you mentioned about the information being presented to the general public, being able to understand full transparency, what the rules, the regulations, process, and so on. My question to you is, obviously, those documents are all in Spanish, and as a non-Spanish speaker, is there the opportunity to actually have some sort of English translation or something close to English that will help non-Spanish speakers actually understand the process and not get bogged down in the intricacies that we just don't understand?
We are working on it. As you know, we're trying to publish our documents in Spanish and in English. It's a big effort from us, but I want to be sure that produce information in English for my friends.
Thank you very much.
Not my enemies, my friends. So, more questions? I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have you here in our country of beauty, in our airports of beauty, and our slot coordination process of beauty. Thank you very much. See you soon, and enjoy.